Today's tech tip is brought to you by Mr. Hammer's Legs. Seriously, we have got the carts, finally, for your cohorts so you can store all your devices. We have a fairly large task ahead of us putting these together, but over the next few days, you will start to see these trickling into your classrooms. Now, the very first thing you're probably going to wonder when you see this show up is, how do I get into this thing? It's locked. Never fear, the code is not difficult to remember, and it is no great secret. You may share this with each other, you may share this with students. This electronic lock was not something that we specifically bought. It just happens to have come with this particular device. There's no way around it. To get in, you simply press 0 and OK. And you turn it clockwise, and there you have it. To latch it, you just put it in place, turn it, it'll automatically lock again. To get in, it is 0 and OK. Now inside here I have set up a few demonstration devices to give you an idea of what you might want to do in your room. All of you have different devices right now, so I can't just show you one size fits all. Many of you have these little 11-inch MacBook Airs. 3rd and 4th grade has the 13-inch MacBook Airs, which are a little bigger. A lot of you guys have iPads. Now, it is fine to put your teacher iPad in here, by the way. We do recommend it so that the disinfecting sprays minimize their contact with these devices. We want as much in these cabinets as possible. Some of you guys have these white MacBooks. So everything that we have in district should fit. Some things are going to be a little tighter of a fit than others. The 13-inch MacBook Airs just barely fit, and that is by design. We had to look long and hard to find a cabinet that was this small that would actually fit these 13-inch MacBook Airs. The ones that are a little tricky are these white ones. They will not fit next to each other unless you really jam it in there and bend our wire dividers, which we would ask you not do. So, when storing white MacBooks in here, please skip the one that is closest to either edge. These wire dividers are not built the same. They are a dual unit wire, and we put in a second dual unit wire and a third dual unit wire when we're assembling these, so the spacing is a little bit wider between those units. And that is what is going to be required for these 13-inch MacBooks to fit in here. If you try and move it over even one, you can kind of jam it in there, but it is really not good for either the device or the rack. It's going to be a little tough for some of the littles to get that. You are more than welcome to stick some labels along the bottom of this if that's going to help them out. But other than that, the wires do fit just fine. Up here I've got a couple of things to show you. So for many of you in the upper grades who are going to be taking these devices home frequently, you're not going to necessarily want the chargers plugged into the back. And I will show you that in just a minute. But it is fine to leave your leave your power cord plugged into the unit, send their charger home with them, and when they get in, they can just click it in here and put it safely on the shelf here. I do recommend anybody doing that you only use this top shelf so that these wires dangling down are not going to be in the way of each other. We do want to keep things fairly easy. This shelf will fit 15 of these devices, which should be a smaller number than just about every cohort I have seen. So, at least until they don't fit, please try and keep them on this upper shelf for these thinner devices. Same goes for the 13-inch ones. It's okay to put those side by side. Same thing goes for the iPads. It is okay to put those side by side. So you are welcome to store chargers up here and dangle them down if you would like. Or, let's take a quick look at the other side, shall we? Now there's a little trick to getting in here. We do not have the electronic lock in this case. We have a mechanical lock in this case. The mechanical lock is a little bit cryptic, which I guess is probably good for a lock to be. There's a button here. The button does say push, although it's kind of hard to say or see that it says that. If you push the magical push button, it will pop up and become a handle, and you may easily open this up. To reverse it, just turn the handle so that it comes down here, and then push that, and it'll lock it. So to open it, you press push, rotate it, open. To close it, you rotate it, click it in place, we're good to go. Back here we have power strips all along the sides here. They are a little tight. Luckily we are not filling these devices with 30 devices, which 2 shelves of 15 could support technically. For our cohort sizes, you should have no problems just sticking with the one power cord that you would want to plug into the wall. Technically, if we were using all 30 devices, we would want this second one plugged in to the wall rather than to this other power strip, which is how I've got it. This should be fine for this scenario. Next year, we may need to have 2 cords coming out of this to fully support the power we need. When you are putting the power bricks in here, you've got a couple of options. You can use the long cords and put those up to the top like I showed you in the first. You may also use the long cords and leave these bricks neatly stacked on the bottom. I would not want to stack more than 15 this way, but I think for our sizing we can probably fit 15 in here without any problems. I do recommend tying the cords so that they're not quite all over the place and tangled into each other. Tie wraps work great, Velcro, whatever solution works best for each of you. If your chargers have the little duck heads, you are welcome to plug the chargers in right next to each other. They should fit. If you find it's getting a little cramped, you can skip one, you can skip a couple and use both sides. There's all kinds of ways that you can configure this to get the desired results. I would not recommend kids coming back here and plugging and unplugging their own chargers if you are going to be having them take them home frequently. If it's just a very rare occasion, perhaps, but if you are doing this frequently, I do not think that it is safe for the kids to be getting their hands in here, especially when they're all chunked in together. For the iPads, these chargers fit quite nicely side by side without any strain or issue. These cables aren't too long. Guess what? This cart was probably designed for something a lot like iPads rather than large laptops. But everything fits, everything should be cool. There are some little dividers in between here for cable management. Feel free to use those. Now, if you do decide to send laptops home with any kind of regularity, one thing that is very important for you to note, every single charger has a number. That number should match students' laptops. We do asset tag these for a reason. The students are responsible for turning in their charger at the end of the year. So you cannot just willy-nilly grab chargers, unclick it, and go. So stress that to your students, that they make sure that they have their charger if they're taking it home, and that they don't accidentally grab somebody else's charger. Now, that is only true of the silver laptops. The iPads, those chargers are not asset tagged. Any student can take home any charger. For the white MacBooks, we used to asset tag those, but those have since become such an old device that frankly we just don't care about tracking those. They're in old shape. We do not keep track of those as carefully as we used to. But the silver laptops, we absolutely asset tag, and we want to make sure that those stay together. I think that should cover the basics. If anybody has any questions for me, feel free to email. And I hope you guys enjoy your nice little carts.